How did musicians like Mick Jagger, Iggy Pop, and Paul McCartney stay so healthy despite all the drugs and alcohol and partying they must have done? You're not thinking of the vast majority of musicians' talent that have passed away, just ones that survived. We don't see these people every minute of every day. For all we know, they're struggling in private with a disease or condition, or on a dozen treatments. Kid genetics. Some people are just lucky. Keith Richards' deal with the devil had some splash when he made it in the 70s. Kinda like being in the first row for the whales at a marine park, except less fish and a lot more coke. Paul McCartney experimented a little bit with cocaine, speed, and hallucinogens. He smoked a lot of weed as well. He wasn't a heroin addict like Iggy Pop and didn't go near as hard with the coke as Mick Jagger. I feel like he shouldn't really be on this list. They also have a lot of money and access to trainers and healthy diets. Jagger's father was a gym teacher. He insisted Mick exercise regularly, and the habit stuck with him. When the Stones are on tour, he jogs several miles a day and runs something like 2 miles on stage per show. Charlie and Ronnie had cancer, which may be part of it. Keith. Well, there's just no explaining Keith. Google all our dead drunk friends. Plenty of musicians died in their 20s. Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin. I think John Bonham made it past 30, but died from alcohol. Help me out here, folks. I can't make it past J until I have more coffee. It's almost like lots of drugs are not as bad as people think. Keep that to yourself though. Genetics though, and maybe they actually didn't party all that hard. Can't see Paul doing much more than the odd puff and the little nosebag. Or they may have just played a role and not actually participated in any of it. I just seen an interview with 50 Cent, and he said it looked like he was drinking, but his cup was full of some tonic water while he was on tour. I guess they stopped partying, drinking, and whatnot early enough, and at this time were rich enough to have a personal trainer, chef, and nutritionist, and excellent medical care, and some luck as well, because some of them grossly exaggerated their drinking drug-taking stories. Wasn't there some story going about that Oliver Reed drank 30 pints in a night or something? My fuck did he. They prob did not party that hard. Jagger has publicly stated that he did not like getting high or drunk, because he felt out of control and he liked to stay in control of himself. All those people were in bands where somebody died during or soon after leaving. 2 of their bands have someone in the 27 Club Stone Stooges. So yeah, survivor bias. I guess you aren't aware of what having vast sums of money can do for your health. And McCartney seemed to button it up after the Beatles. Not like Page or Slash. Keith Richards said he never buy street drugs, but would rely on trusted doctors, dentists, and chemists who were attracted to the rock and roll lifestyle. Jagger and Pop have always been lean and very physically active, which helps. McCartney quit drugs early and had a healthy vegetarian diet for decades too. I would not say healthy, just alive. I hope by not living as they did I can avoid looking like a pickled skeleton for several decades of my life, because they are relatively healthy otherwise. Touring is an extremely active lifestyle compared to the average user. That and survivorship bias. They are vampires. I thought this was common knowledge. They all die only because people will become suspicious if they don't. Think about all the people who die Amish sitting at their desk job getting fat eating fast food, drinking beer on the weekends. Genetics. There are lots of heavy smokers that never end up with cancer or any respiratory problems because of their genes. Mick and Paul didn't indulge into real heavy stuff to the extent that others did. Mick has always been a health nut too. Survivorship bias. You are missing all the musicians that did in fact die relatively young. These guys just got lucky. Pure money. If you dig into these people's medical records, I bet you can find millions of dollars in the trash. Sex and drugs and rock and roll is very good indeed. Ian Dury and the Blockheads Health Institute. I believe they took so many drugs that they went past the point of overdose and started over again. Probably doing what you love to do every day, plus not having to stress over money like us peasants. At least in Keith Richardson's case, he can't be killed by conventional weapons. I doubt McCartney was a serious caner, and Jagger neither, tbh, because they weren't Jimi Hendrix. Jim Morrison or Janis Joplin. I love that you didn't include Keith Richards or Ozzy in this. Keith Richards, you forgot him. Dude looks like walking death. Regular trips to Epstein's Island. Only logical explanation. Every day they drink a vial of Keith Richards' blood. Just because they lived doesn't mean they're healthy.